everybody. Welcome back to another amazing segment of the Black Girl Write Her series. I'm your host, Shaniqua Inspires, and listen, we are right at the end of Mental Health Awareness Month, but we've got to keep the conversation going. So I'm bringing a new sister friend to the stage, and she's going to really help to set our souls and our spirits on fire so that we can continue the charge in bringing about that mental health awareness. So I'm not going to, you guys know I can sit here and try to hype them up, but I'm just going to go ahead and bring her to the stage. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. Now, listen, this is actually our first time meeting one another, face to face, like into this. So please introduce yourself to me and to the audience.
Okay, well, my name is Tollisa Stricklen. I am 24 years old, and I am a three-time self-published author. I work in early childhood education. That is something that I'm also going to school for as well. And most of my books, they embody, what it is to be mentally healthy. Because I have dealt with certain mental illnesses in the past. And so
Mhm,
I just use the knowledge that I've learned to help
mhm.
others.
24 years old. My goodness. You and to have three books under your belt, you better come on, girl. You better do that. I am very impressed. So let's get into the conversation. Like, take us back to what mental health looked like in your own life.
Okay, well, in the year 2019, 2020, I went through what doctors would call psychosis. I was
Mm,
actually like in institutionalized. And so I just didn't have no peace. I was like super fearful, super paranoid. When you're going through psychosis or schizophrenia, anything like that, you think that what you think is reality isn't really
mhm,
reality. So it took a toll on my family, it took a toll on my friends. Because they were just trying to shake me out of this reality that I had created in my mind. So
wow.
in the year of 2020, in the year of 2021, the Holy Spirit told me to write a book. At this time, I was like coming out of my situation, and I was inspired to write a book. And so that's my first book. It's called The Woman at the Well, How to Overcome Her Fears. And so I wrote that book while I was in the thick of trying to, get my mental health back on track, and reaching out to resources, therapists, family, just having that support and being able to, tell my story to others. That really helped me overcome different things that I was going through in my mind.
Wow. We had another guest on this special edition for Mental Health Awareness Month, an author who also had a break in reality, and it literally changed the trajectory of her life. But most would think for the bad, but it actually was for good, right? So she now uses that moment in time now as her strength. She drew that strength from it. My question to you is, what was going on prior to that? Like, so take us step by step. Like, what were you dealing with in order for that break to occur?
Marijuana, just smoking, drinking,
Hmm.
just doing different things like that. I believe that takes a toll on your mind.
Hmm.
Not eating right. There are certain foods that help cultivate your mind. They call them like brain foods. And
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
I believe, and then also a lot of things that we deal with are generational. Sometimes it comes just through the bloodline. And I
Yeah.
definitely believe that was my wake up call. Without me going through that, I would not have the platform that I have. I would not be able to talk to people who are going through similar things, because this lady told me, she was like, I'm so glad I bought your book, because I never thought that anybody else had been through what I've been through
Hmm.
before. So being
Hmm.
able to be that voice, because a lot of people go through it, but they don't want to talk about it. So
Yes.
I am very grateful that God blessed me. But I wasn't always this bold though, because it
Mhm.
can, be embarrassing. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful that God blessed me with the boldness that He did, so I can help others.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm telling you, there is a strength. There is a strength that comes from being able to pull back your power, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a beautiful testimony. I was telling the other guest, Danielle Cherie Brown, I was telling her, I'm like, I get so excited when I hear her testimony. And so
Mm-hmm.
even with me hearing about you, it's not that I'm excited that you went through that, but it's almost like into we get to live through that. And the
Right.
fact that we see you now, this beautiful young lady in school working and has 3 books under her belt. I mean, come on. 24? I think that's super impressive. And having had gone through that type of situation, that gives me strength. And I don't know you, we've never embraced nothing, but I still get strength just by hearing of your testimony. And I think it's a beautiful thing. Now, we got to talk a little bit more, even though there's another book that I wanted to focus on today. When I saw your author page and I saw this book, Woman at the Well, and I was like, this young girl, what she got to say? What kind of experience does she have to give this type of testimony? And sure enough, here you are. So you said that God laid that in your heart to write that. What has been the response to that first book? So tell us what it's been like for you being an author of, I mean, this is an exposure, right? This is an exposure. So what was it like penning that first book?
Okay, so from a personal point of view, it was very scary because here
Mm-hmm.
I am telling all my business,
Mm-hmm.
trying to being transparent. I don't know how people are going to react.
Yeah.
So when I stepped outside of myself and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna depend on God. Whatever people say, that's
Mm-hmm.
what they say. I know my truth. I know I'm learning who I am as a person. So I'm just gonna pull on the strength of God. And so I just began, promoting the book, and people were like buying it. I don't know if they were buying it just to like support me, but when that lady gave her testimony about how she didn't think that anybody else had been through what she had been through before, like
Mm-hmm.
that made me continue to write, because I never thought that I would have 3 books. Like I thought that first book was just gonna be the last one.
Mm-hmm.
But after she told me that, like, that made me keep going, because I remember knowing that I was going through something, but I didn't know exactly what it was called. So like
Mm-hmm.
if I can reach out to somebody, or somebody can see this video and be like, hey, this sounds like something that I'm kind of going through, let me see, I need to get some help,
Mm-hmm.
so because I remember not having that help, so I feel like
Mm-hmm.
God allowed me to go through that so I can be that help,
Mm. Come on now. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, he's got a way of doing that, right? Now listen, we know we like this is the spinoff to my normal podcast, The Black Girl Encourage Her. So we like nice, happy, stories and things as such. But I gotta ask you this. Did you get any backlash? Was there any negative comments about you sharing such a personal experience? Did you hear anything, see anything, encounter anything that was more on the negative side?
You want me to tell you who and I don't think that they were trying to be negative, but it kind of maybe just came off as negative.
Mm-hmm.
My family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
because they did not understand the assignment that God had me on.
Yeah.
Like when I was like telling my story, because to them, I'm guessing maybe it was, embarrassing,
Mhm. For them.
yeah, to
Yes.
them it was embarrassing. So my family, because in the book I'm telling things about my personal life that maybe they did not know until they got the book.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that transparency, it really bothered, my family members. But
Okay.
other than that, I know not from anyone else that I know of. Somebody
Okay.
probably said something because people always got something to say. But
Absolutely.
yeah, nobody came and told me anything though.
But what hurts the most, and it's the impact from the ones you deem closest. So, I mean, if strangers say, you might have been able just to, brush it off your shoulders, but coming from within, it does hurt a little bit more. Now, I want you to talk to someone who is on the fence about writing their testimony because of that fear. They're afraid that it's going to disrupt someone in their family. What would you say to them, either to support it or, whatever? Like, what kind of conversation would you have with someone who's on the fence?
I would tell them that whatever it is, when you write that thing down, it won't bother you anymore. Usually when you don't write and you holding back, that's because you're still dealing with it. So
Hmm.
once you write it, once you release it, God will give you the strength to publish it.
Yeah.
You have to just pull on his strength. You can't worry
Hmm.
about what other people are saying because it's not their assignment. It's your assignment. And if you don't do your assignment, God is going to get somebody else to do it.
Come
So
on.
he gave it to you for you to do it. He's gracious, he's merciful. He'll give you the strength, for you to do it.
I love that. I love that. Now, let's talk a little bit about the second book. What's the title of your second book?
So my second book is called How to Overcome Your Fears.
Okay. And so, what's the premise behind that? Or what was the motivating factor on that one?
So when I was going through my situation, I mean, I was so balled up in fear, like I could not
Mm.
sleep. My heart was just like pound. I had anxiety so bad. And so I think I wrote that book in 2022. The Holy Spirit encouraged me to write how I overcame that. And so it's biblical, it's biblical scriptures, speaking about like spiritual warfare, about how God did not give us the spirit of fear, because basically I had to keep on repeating that to myself when I was
Mhm.
going through trying to be healed mentally. I have to keep on saying God has not given us the spirit of fear, but power of love and of a sound mind.
Yeah.
It had to become repetitious so it could become real to me.
Yeah.
From a person who was hearing voices, because I was like hearing voices. So I
Mm.
had to I had to believe, that okay, God is a gracious God, that he's merciful. I had to just really lean on his word. So that's pretty much what How to Overcome Your
Wow.
Fears is about. Biblical principles about drawing from the strength of God, how to walk in your power, the authority that God has given you, no matter what you have done. Usually the enemy, he'll try to come and tell us, that we're powerless because of certain things that we have
Mhm.
done, certain sins that we have committed, but that book really talks about how to push that to the side, repent, go on, and do what God has called you to do.
I love it. I love it. Now, question for you. Prior to your psychotic episode, were you saved? Were you faith-filled? Like, were you in the church? I guess we can say that.
My mom is a pastor, so I grew.
There we go. There we go.
But being young, you don't take it as serious
Yeah.
as you would if you were older.
Yes.
So I knew about God, but I did
Mhm.
not have a personal encounter with him.
Yeah.
After I went through my situation, that's when I had a personal encounter and a personal hunger for him.
Hmm. There's the glory right there.
Mm.
There's the glory. Sometimes people would say, well, why me? Why did I have to go through that? And God will do whatever.
Mm.
He will do whatever to get you back in alignment. So
Mm.
if it meant that you had to go through a psychotic break, yes, he had to break you from that old mindset, those old ways, that old reality, and he now had to bring you into a new. And I don't know how you looked before you went in it, but girl, you look good now. Like you look so, like you glow, like you literally glow, and you're radiating with so much light and life to you. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to see a young person just sold out for Christ, to put on the mind of Christ, and now to really be operating in your gifting. So I love, I mean, I loved all of the books. I was like, wow, like how can I focus on one? But that one sounds like a power packed uh, book. And you also got your faith. It seems as though, like, you know, yes, you came into your assignment, but it's like now you're faith filled, and now you're speaking, the word of God, you're teaching the word of God, and you're helping others to be set free, even
Mhm.
at such a young age. So I always say, like, that's an accomplishment. Like, I want you to, I keep repeating that because it is an accomplishment. Like, most 24-year-olds are still trying to figure out, what they want to eat for breakfast. Like they're still trying to figure things out. Like, and you've gone through something, but now you're on a sturdier ground. And not to say that every day is going to be sunshine and roses, but it is to say that you have your footing
Mhm.
in the right place. So now we got to talk about the third book, because that was really the one that I was going to talk about. But the other ones, I was like, no, I need to hear a little bit more about these books. Let's talk about this third one. The title of this third one just really got me. I think that's why I focused on that one. Unnoticed to Revealed.
Right.
Give us, what's this about?
Okay, so usually when we're going through life, we don't realize that a lot of things that a lot of our actions as adults, they come from childhood trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So in this book, we are like unpacking, and I'm starting off with my dirt, my insecurities that I've had. Because growing up in a home where like your mom is the pastor, like that's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
It's already a lot of eyes on you.
Yep.
So some things, some of our needs, they kind of went unnoticed,
Mm-hmm.
and so when time went by, certain issues, certain problems, it began to get revealed, so, and that goes with almost anything, father issues,
Mm-hmm.
um relationship issues. Sometimes when we don't deal with things, when we don't get the proper help, the proper resources that we need, it's kind of like you sweeping dirt under a rug,
Yeah.
but you can still see that like it's some dirt under that rug,
Yeah.
and so that's pretty much what that book is about, giving people the strength, the courage to go and unpack all of that, because until you unpack that, you cannot move on to the next phase, as freely as you want to.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. I love it. So tell us, what do you do on a day to day basis that helps you to stay in this zone? That, you don't go back to the ways, you don't have another psychotic break. Like, what is the work that you're doing that keeps you at this place?
I'm gonna tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So it is so possible for you to reverse. It
Mm-hmm.
is something that I do. I don't do the marijuana. I don't
Mm-hmm.
do that. I read my word and I pray.
Yes.
I try to stay away from environments that are not healthy,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of a lot of times we putting on other people's stressors.
Mm-hmm.
We're carrying other people's baggage.
Yes.
So I try to stay connected to people that's gonna pray for me, that's
Mhm.
gonna uplift me, and I just try to keep my environment as peaceful as possible, putting on my praise and worship,
Yeah.
reading my word, spending time with God, praying, different things like that. So The Bible even tells us that he keeps us in perfect peace, those
Mhm.
whose mind is stayed on him. So like, you got to keep your mind stayed on God. You know, you have to invite him into your day,
Yeah.
and I believe that he'll bring you through it, because he's not a respecter of man, you know.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
love it. I love, because it's going to require work. And as I was having a conversation on one of the other episodes, that we are all like teeter tottering on the brink.
Hmm.
Like we don't know the day, we don't know the time, but we're all at that vulnerable state, like where it could go either way. So I love that you've incorporated this practice of really just drawing closer to Christ. And it's not to say that another break or any type of issues are never going to happen, because I think that's a problem. People, they become Christians, they give their lives to Christ, and they think they're never going to have a bad day. But a bad day is not really that bad of a day when you got Jesus on your side. Like it's a different, like a bad day in the world versus a bad day in his courts. It's like they just kind of feel a little different, because you know
Right.
how the outcome is gonna be.
Right.
So I love what it is that you are doing on a regular basis to keep your feet grounded. Now be honest with us. Do you have a fear that you might go back into that state of mind?
I think that I've become more aware,
Mhm,
because now I know the key. I know that God can heal me,
mhm,
and I know that prayer and reading my word is what brought me out. So
hmm,
I think that fear that's there, that awareness is, so I won't go and do things that cause me to be in that situation in the first place.
amen,
And I
amen.
think that that's what lessons are all about, you learning, what you needed to learn in that lesson, and not going back and doing that anymore.
Yes,
So, yeah, I think it's more of like an awareness now.
I love it. And now you've created a platform around this. So you're going around, you're speaking. I saw that you had some book events that you did. Um, I want to ask the question, like, where do you find your strength? Because I know your strength comes from the Lord. Um, but why you? Why do you think it's you that's called to do this? Have you ever thought about that?
Hmm, I think it's because God know how He created me. Like I feel like I was created for this. Like, I really don't know how to explain it, but I feel like God created me for this. Like, I always would like write when I was
Mhm,
younger, but I never thought that like I would be writing a book about my personal testimony, my
mhm,
personal experiences. Like, this one guy asked me, he was like, what have you been through? You so young, like what have you
mm,
been through? But like, people don't know. Like,
yeah,
I went through that for almost 2 years, because even after I wasn't going back to the third floor, the psychiatric facility, I was still going through in my mind. I was saved and was still going through in my mind,
yeah,
like, got rebaptized. I was still having,
mm,
tormenting
God,
thoughts and different things like that. So like, I went through for about a good 2-3 years.
mm,
And yeah, so I really don't know. I mean, he equipped me to do it,
mhm.
so that's something to be grateful for.
It is. It is. It is. I always say we don't pick and choose our battles, but we thank God that He looks at our strengths and He knows what we can bear. So it's like, okay, you think I'm a champ at this? I guess I gotta win, right? Like there's no other option. So if you had to give some words to someone who felt as though they're struggling they're struggling mentally, what would you say to them?
I would tell them to not isolate themselves.
Mm,
Talk to somebody that you trust, and get the help that you need. It's okay to go to therapy. It's okay
mhm.
to, get other resources.
Yeah.
I believe in God and therapy.
Come
God
on
gave
now.
us therapists,
Yeah.
so don't isolate yourself from people, because that's what the enemy wants you to do. So he
Mhm.
can keep on talking to you, keep on getting in your mind,
Yeah.
make you feel like you're not worthy, make you shameful and different things like that. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm trying to tell you, like, people go through this, like, for real,
Mhm.
and people have come out,
Yeah.
and you can come out too. You just have to seek the help that you need.
Absolutely. I definitely have to connect you with Danielle Cherie Brown. I'm telling you, she's gonna be ecstatic to know that I found a young lady that has a similar type of testimony. And I think the two of you really would be able to gain something from one another. So I'm definitely gonna make that connection there. Now, question for you. This is kind of a fun kind of a question. Are you ministering now?
I'm not.
Uh-huh.
I think that, like, when I tell people about my books, that is me ministering.
Uh-huh.
But, like, so far as, like, church ministering, I'm not.
Uh-huh. Do you think that's in your pathway?
I do.
Okay. Because sometimes we run from it. We're like, no, that's not really what I'm trying to do. But and also due to the fact that you said that you're in early childhood education, so that's almost
Oh
like
yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's like a natural fit, but it's a natural fit because that's one of the fivefolds, right? So you have that teacher, so it does make it easier for you. So always just remember that, like you're in that educational space for a reason. So
Mhm.
it makes it not as rough when God is like, all right, Benaki, come here. Like, you got to come over here, right? Because he wants you for that. And I can just tell by the sound of your voice. You're very articulate. And look, it's not like I'm, listening to a bunch of 24-year-olds and they're all hood and thugged out and everything. No, no, no. But I'm just saying, like, you just have this sound to your voice that it's ministering. So, yes, when you are out speaking about your book, you're ministering, right? So you're getting your basic training now. And I only can imagine it's going to be a matter of time, right? And not so much because your mother is a minister, a preacher, but it's because of what God is doing in your life. It's like those strong soldiers with the greatest testimonies. It makes it natural for you because you've gotten so accustomed to exposing exposing yourself in order for others to heal, right?
Mhm.
So I think it'll be a natural fit, and I can't wait to see. Like, I'm gonna definitely keep my eye on you and see what other things you get into, because you definitely have one of those voices that can definitely soothe and heal and just bring those captives out of captivity. So, thank you. I'm so honored that you said yes to being on this show. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us? Like anything that's just in your heart, in your spirit, whether it's about mental health or not? Like, just is there anything that you just want to make certain that you say?
No, thank you so much for allowing me to be on your platform. I think that this is wonderful. A lot of people, we don't really talk about mental health, but
Mm,
it's starting to be popular now. So I'm just hoping that everyone gets the help that that they need, so we can have healthy lives, healthy families, healthy careers, different things
mhm.
like that. So thank you so much for doing this.
You are so welcome. Let me get your social media handles up so you all can follow her on Facebook. She's also on Instagram. Those of you who are on my mailing list, you already know about Tollisa. You already know about her. You got her links. You got the link to the book. I want you all to make certain that you support. That's what it's about. It's about supporting this young lady in the mission. She's on this mission to spread this awareness about mental health. So I want as many of you as you can, even if you just drop her books in your shopping cart and you don't, buy them all. Yeah, you buy one at a time, but just go ahead and put all three of them in there. I'm going to make certain you have the link to all of them, not just the one I wanted to talk about, but all of them so that you can click it and go. And then you can give them out as gifts. You can give them the gifts, even if you don't want to sit and read it, give it as a gift, because mental health is such a stigma in our society. And we've got to start having these type of conversations in order to normalize it, in order for people to feel safe to come out and to speak on it. So I want to encourage everyone to make certain they support. This young lady could be doing 1,000 other things. She's out here ministering through books, right? She's out here, got her pen going, and she's ministering that way. So definitely get a copy. Even if you give it to your young people, say, hey, look at this young girl doing something with her life. Here, take a page. Let's go. And just get motivated to do something. So Lisa, hang out for just a second. Let me give the people their marching orders. That was good. That was a good cherry on top of this conversation for Mental Health Awareness Month. I thank each and every one of you for tuning into tonight's message. I want you to make certain that you share this. Hit the share button and put it on all of your social media platforms because people need to hear this. And you don't want to individually send it to people because then they might start feeling some kind of a way. And we don't want people all up in their feelings, but just share, do it as a group text, whatever. Just send it to everybody because we have to start normalizing the conversation. So make certain that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel and you turn on that notification bell because guess what? The Black Girl Encourage Her is definitely coming back. So you don't want to miss the rest of season 4 of the Black Girl Encourage Her. So without any other, disturbances, I want you to make certain that you get everything. You get everything, all of the information that we are pouring out on this platform. So please make certain that you subscribe and you share. And look, until the next time we meet again on the Black Girl Write-Her series, you all be blessed. And I'll see you all over on the Black Girl Encourage Her side. Take care.